Hey everyone, how you all doing today? And welcome back to another video. So we are in the Great League Remix. So the Halloween Cup and the Great League Remix begin tomorrow. And let me know which one you're going to play. I'm really curious. So, this is an interesting meta. Originally, when they announced the Great League Remix for this season, they said the top 20 Pokemon from the previous season would be banned, which is what they do, right? But it was really confusing to me because we got a big overhaul. A big overhaul of changes this season. I'm like, why are you banning Annihilate or Gligar when they're not going to even be used anyway in the Great League Remix this season? But they originally announced that those top 20 Pokemon were going to be banned, including Annihilate and Gligar. So it seemed off to me. But according to Pokeminers, who data mines the game, Niantic actually had changed those Pokemon, that ban list, I guess, from this season compared to last season. So I'm recording this ahead of time. As of right now, on the blog, those top 20 Pokemon that they originally announced are still listed there. That may have changed by the time you're watching this video. I would imagine that they would update the blog post at some point. But the original list was Alolan Sandslash, Wigglytuff, Poliwrath, Dugong, Lickitung, Typhlosion, Feraligatr, Lantern, Azumel, Quagsire, Gligar, Mantine, Skarmory, Altaria, Whiscash, Bastiodon, Talonflame, Charjabug, Skeledurge, and Annihilate. That's not the list anymore. The new list is going to be Azumel, Talonflame, Wigglytuff, Clodsire, Quagsire, Feraligatr, Dunsparce, Dugong, Alolan Sandslash, Toxapex, Malamar, Mandibuzz, Diggersby, Jumpluff, Ferrothorn, Drapion, Kanto, Marowak, Gastrodon, Superior, and Greninja. Obviously, that list makes more sense for the current season. So, again, the blog post, as of recording this video, still lists the old Pokemon that they were originally going to ban. But since updating it, now the new Pokemon, they haven't updated it. So, I don't know if they'll update it or not. Maybe they will by the time you're watching this video, as I said. But that is the new list of Pokemon that are going to be banned, at least according to Pokeminers. Which makes a lot of sense, right? Because why would you ban some Pokemon from last season that are not meta-relevant like Skarmory anymore, right? So I'm actually happy that they did that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into it with the new list of banned Pokemon. So for the S-rank, Pangoro is actually ranked number 1. I love Pangoro. Now, it's just such a good Pokemon. Karate Chop, Night Slash, Close Combat gets to the move so fast. Night Slash, of course, is a great bait move, as you know. Just such a fantastic Pokemon and a fantastic spammy Pokemon. That's all I can say about it, right? It's just so good. Pangoro is fantastic, and I'm happy with that. Used it in the Open Great League this season, and it's going to be really good in the Great League Remix. We have Galarian, Weezing. I would go with the Shadow one if you have it, if you manage to evolve some Shadow Coughing. If you don't have it, you can go with the regular one, but if you have the Shadow one, I think it's going to be better. Brutal Swing was updated this season, just so much better previously. I would go with Play Rough. I mean, Overheat is an option too. I just like the fact that you don't debuff yourself with Play Rough. That's what I would go with. Recommend that. And then you have some really good play against fighting types. For example, Pangoro, obviously, Machamp and Pangoro are going to resist Brutal Swing. They don't resist Overheat. It would still do a lot, but if they shield it, then you debuff your attack. So I like to play rough, to be honest, on Shadow, Galarian, Weezing. And then we have Cubink. Of course, Cubink is a fantastic Pokemon. So Cubink and Bastiodon, super bulky. I like Cubink more than Bastiodon personally, and that's been the case ever since it came out. I've never been a fan of Bastiodon, just because, when it comes to Bastiodon, if you wall a Pokemon, you're walling a Pokemon. It doesn't matter how much they nerf Smackdown, right? You're still walling that Pokemon. But with, if it's weak to it, like, if it's weak to fighting, right? Cubink is not weak to fighting, but not only that, it has play against fighting types because it has Moonblast. So it has more play against some Pokemon it might not necessarily want to see, compared to the Bastiodon. So that's why I personally prefer Cubink. I've never been the biggest fan of Bastiodon. I rarely use it. I've tried it out a couple times throughout the years, but I've rarely used Bastiodon. It's just not my playstyle. I just don't really care for it that much. And then we have Machamp, a Shadow Machamp. I have a rank 6. Let's go. I still have to Elite TM it, but you definitely want the Karate Chop, which is an Elite fast move. Or a Legacy move, I should say. And then I'd say you probably do want the Stone Edge. I could see arguments for Rock Slide, which is not a Legacy move. Stone Edge is a Legacy move. So it really depends, but then definitely Crush Chop. But yeah, great Pokemon. Super sparing. I love it. I love Pingo and Machamp this season. And then we have Steelix. Steelix, of course, with that Dragon Tail. And you definitely want the Psychic Fangs. I would say Psychic Fangs and Crunch is the standard moveset. Clefable. Clefable, probably one of the best fairies. Actually, definitely one of the best fairies. That's why I put it on in the S rank. Definitely amazing. Swift is a great bait move. It's not a great move in general, necessarily. But it's a great bait move, right? You charge up to the Moonblast, and then you could either bait with Swift, or maybe you just need to chip something, or maybe you just need to KO it. It's very low health. Swift will get the job done. It is a good move. I know I said it wasn't that greatest move, but it's still a good move just because of how cheap it is. And then we have Gallade. So Gallade or Shadow Glade. You know, this Pokemon benefits when shields are down. I kind of like this Pokemon in the back just because if you safe swap it in, you're getting a hit on energy, right? Let's say it beats the lead Pokemon, so they have to leave with the lead Pokemon. Glade is going to be fantastic for that because you're going to get head on energy and you're going to be able to do a lot of damage. It's so fast to get to the Leaf Blade and close combat with Psycho Cut. Moving on to the A rank, kind of mentioned Bastiodon. Still going to be good. When it walls a Pokemon, it walls a Pokemon. For example, Guzzlord, obviously, right? Guzzlord does not want to see Bastiodon, so it's still going to have a lot of play. But there's also a lot of answers to it as well, so something to keep in mind. Guzzlord, probably the best Dragon type. I think this is a fantastic Pokemon in this meta. No need for Dragon Claw. You want the Dragon Tail, Brutal Swing, and then Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb gives it some coverage against fairies. It is non-stab, which is a little bit unfortunate, but still a good Pokemon. Alolan Marowak with the Fire Spin and Bone Club buff this season, and then Shadow Bone will make this Pokemon pretty decent in this meta. And then we have Golduck or Shadow Golduck. I mean, we had a recent Rocket rotation with Shadow Golduck, so hopefully you got a good one because this is a really good Pokemon. That Mud Slap damage is no joke. Then we have Quillfish, spams those Aqua Tails. It gets to them really fast, so I think it's a really good save swap. Registeel, yes, Zap Cannon was nerfed significantly, and it was nerfed because the chance of debuffing your opponent was significantly nerfed, but the damage was not. So the damage is still there from Focus Blast and Zap Cannon, and you still have that chance to debuff your opponent as well. Even though it's a smaller chance, you still have that chance. Moving on to the B rank. Oh, let's go, Runerikus. So Runerikus has Brutal Swing, and of course we know Brutal Swing was buffed this season, and Shadow Claw. Yeah, just pretty cool Pokemon. One that I will probably try out, to be completely honest with you. I actually think Runerikus is pretty good. So we'll have to see. It has a few different options at its disposal that it can use, right? It has Shadow Ball. It has what was that? Is it Rock Tomb or is it Sand Tomb or something? I don't quite remember, but it's such a pretty good Pokemon. And then we have Machoke. So yeah, another fighting type. Machoke is another good one if you want to consider that. So of course we talked about Pangor, we talked about Machamp, but Machoke also has Karate Chop and Cross Chop, so it's going to be really good, but you do have a legacy move on this Machoke. Then we have Lickilicky. If you want to roll out user, Lickilicky is going to be pretty good. Honestly, Body Slam is just, it's a good bait move, but I feel like the nerf really affects it so much, like the nerf to damage. So I kind of like the double nukes on this. I definitely like the double nukes in the Ultra League. When it comes to the Great League or the Great League Remix, I definitely see an argument for having Body Slam on it. So if you want to do Body Slam, you can do Body Slam and then pick which nuke move you want. And then we have Wishcash. Yes, Bun Shot was nerfed. It is doing more damage, but it's also taking longer to get to the moves. Still a good Pokemon. Still going to get to the moves pretty fast, even with the nerf. But the nerf is definitely noticeable. And then we have Hakamo-o, another great Dragon-type Pokemon. And then Whimsicott. So Whimsicott, if you want to consider another fairy type, I think Whimsicott could do pretty good in this meta. Moving on to the other options, we do have Ursaring. So Ursaring is really frail, or Shadow Ursaring. Cannot take a hit, but it does have the Shadow Claw, and it does get to the moves pretty fast. Swift as a great bait move. And then it also has Close Combat. I think it has Play Rough as well. I don't think I've ever used an Ursaring, to be honest, but it's better now that it has Swift. And then we have Florges, so another fairy type for you to consider. Hippowdon with Sand Attack, another Pokemon if you want to consider that. Primeape, so this is before Rage Fist is out. So once Rage Fist comes out, it's probably going to make Primeape better. But it still has Karate Chop, it has Cross Chop, it has Ice Punch, Night Slash. It has a lot of different moves it could run. I still feel like I don't know. I think this is a good one. At this point, though, if you have a good Mankey, I think it's worth just waiting for the community day and just using one of the other ones, like Pango or Machamp, or even Machoke. But, yeah, I mean, if you have the Primate, not a bad choice. Swampert, another Mud Boy, maybe consider double Mud Boys if you want to with Swampert and Wishcash. And then we have Regirock. So, Regirock gets to the Stone Edge super fast. Galarian Stunfisk, oh man, they nerfed. Can't even believe I put this on the list. I mean, it might be decent in this meta, but they've nerfed this so much. They've nerfed Earthquake. They nerfed Rock Slide. They nerfed Mudshot. I know they didn't nerf Mudshot to go after Galarian Stunfisk, but it was still nerfed. So, yeah, next thing you know, they'll nerf Muddy Water. No, they're not going to nerf Muddy Water. They might buff it in the future. But they did buff Metal Claw, which technically Galarian Stunfisk has. Unfortunately, Metal Claw is still not a good move. But maybe they'll buff it again, and maybe it will be. Maybe Galarian Stunfisk will come back in a future season. Who knows? And then we have Wolverine. So Wolverine, I actually have seen not a lot this season, but a little bit. They haven't buffed it or anything. Like, they haven't buffed Icicle Spear again. But, or Powder Snow. But I guess, like, I've just been seeing it. Not a lot, but a little bit more this season. Then we have Togetic as another fairy option. Tropius, Dusknoir with that Astonish damage, and Umbreon. We're going to go ahead and move on to the solid team options. So for the first team, I do have the double fighting team. You knew there was going to be a double fighting team, right? With Pango and Machamp. Obviously, if you want to go like Machoke instead of Pango or something and have Machoke and Machamp, that could be pretty good. Backline, what is it going to hate? Absolutely, absolutely hate fairy types with a passion. It cannot beat them. So that's why you have a poison type in the lead. Now, if you want to consider Sludge, I guess you could run Sludge on it. I'm still thinking to go with Brutal Swing and Play Rough. Play Rough's still going to be doing a lot of damage to the fairy types. It is neutral. So that's the moveset I'm considering. Next up, we have Wishcash, Golurk, and Steelix. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to go Triple Shadow just for fun, you could try the Triple Shadow team. I might actually try this team as a Triple Shadow team. It could be a lot of fun, to be completely honest. Yeah, I think that this team seems pretty decent. I guess technically you are ABA weak to grass. So yeah, I mean, I guess a Core Breaker, like this, actually, Whimsicott technically Core Breaks this whole team, to be completely honest with you, because even the Steelix, because Dragon Tail is double resisted. So something to keep in mind, if you see a lot of Whimsicotts, maybe you could switch this a little bit. But yeah, you're not going to appreciate Whimsicott with this team. And again, it is ABA weak to grass, but not a whole lot of grass outside of that Whimsicott, I guess. But if you happen to see some, just something to keep in mind. And then we have another team. We have Runerikus, Clefable, and Coolfish. Coolfish, I mentioned earlier, I think is a great safe swap. So even if they respond with Shadow Golurk, yes, that they're going to be able to Mud Slap you down, but the thing is, you'll get to the Aqua Tail, maybe force a shield, because it probably KO a Shadow Golurk, to be honest, just because of how frail Shadow Golurk is. Next up, we have, I'd go with the Shadow Machamp. If you happen to have a good one, then Licky I think is a great safe swap, and then Whimsicott. Another team we have Coolfish in the lead with Gallade, and then Registeel, so maybe you can get shields, maybe not shields down, but maybe get a shield advantage with the Coolfish. I feel like Coolfish look pretty decent at getting shield advantage, I would say. The team is going to be ABA weak to Golurk, so something to keep in mind. You're not going to appreciate Golurk. Even Gallade, being as frail as it is, probably won't appreciate the Golurk, but you will get to the Leaf Blades really fast. Yeah, so you could try maybe Gallade in the lead in the safe swap into the Coolfish to lure out the Golurk, because I do think Golurk will be really common in this meta if you want to try the version of the team that way. And then next up we have Double Dragon, so Double Dragon Tail with Guzzlord and Hakamo-o. And then we have Galarian Weezing in the lead, because obviously the backline hates fairy types, right? So I put Galarian Weezing in the lead. You could go with another poison type. I would not go with a steel type. I mean, you could, but if you go with a steel type, you'll be ABA weak to fighting, and I think Pango and Machamp are going to be pretty relevant in this meta. So I'd probably go with a poison type. Obviously, you could go with Coolfish. But either way, let me know what you think of these teams. Let me know what team you plan on trying, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.